up, y'all? Welcome to Sabrina Talks. I'm Sabrina if you're new. If you're not, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Now today on Sabrina Talks, we are going to be talking about a new TV series that has just recently came out. It is a show called Cruel Summer and is currently airing on Freeform. Cruel Summer stars Olivia Hall as Kate Wallace, Kiara Aurelia as Jeanette Turner, Harley Quinn Smith as Mallory, Froy Gutierrez as Jamie, and Alice Barnes as Vince. The show relates events that happens between the summers of 1993, 1994, and 1995, and it focuses on two girls, which are Kate Wallace and Jeanette Turner. Kate Wallace is the resident popular girl in town, and somewhere between 1993 and 1994 she gets abducted. And then in 1995 we follow her story of life after her abduction. Jeanette Turner, on the other hand, is like a normal teenager. She's a little bit nerdy, and she has her group of friends that she hangs out with in 93. In 94 she becomes the new resident popular girl and kind of ditches some of her friends and gets some new friends. And then in 1995 we see her life as she gets involved in the abduction of Kate Wallace. So the mystery of the show is essentially what happened to Kate Wallace when she was abducted and how Jeanette Turner is somehow related to her abduction. Before I get into the nitty-gritty details of Cruel Summer, I want to give y'all some spoiler-free thoughts of the show because there's only been about 4 episodes now, so there's plenty of time to catch up for those who haven't seen Cruel Summer yet. So I definitely think it's a good show to watch. I think so far it seems very intriguing. Everything seems really planned out and like they're leading up to something, which I think is great. I definitely think you would enjoy it if you like the kind of teen shows that focus on like a mystery or focus on, you know, some teen drama that isn't so typical. I think one of the main reasons why this show is so intriguing and interesting to me is one, the story obviously, but like the production and the cinematography of the show is what really sells it for me. The fact that we're covering 3 summers and it's done in a relatively easy way of understanding, like you can tell which summer we're in based on what the characters look like and how they act. Like for example, you can really tell with like Jeanette, because in 93 Jeanette has glasses, her hair's really curly, she got braces, she's acting a little bit, you know, awkward. But then in 94, she has her hair straightened, she no longer has braces, she's dressing more stylish, she's one of the popular girls. And then in 95, her hair's short, everything is so much darker and grungier, and her attitude is completely changed. So even though they do like the flawless transitions between some of the summers, you can easily tell where you're at, especially in 95, because in 95 everything's darker, everything's grungier, everything looks so much more dramatic. But in 93 and 94 it's kind of hard to tell which year it is, but as soon as you see any of the characters you immediately know just by how they look and how they're acting what year it is, which I think is so impressive. Speaking of things that make this show great, I want to give a kudos to all of the kid actors or like the teen actors, because they really have to portray 3 different versions of themselves and it's just immaculate. All of the acting is really good. The soundtrack of the show is also really great because it's set in the 90s, so you get some great 90s hits throughout the show. I fully believe that if you like some of the other freeform shows or like ABC Family shows like Pretty Little Liars or Twisted, or that one teen show that just recently came out, Dare Me, all of the like teen mystery kind of shows, I definitely think you will like this, so I say give it a watch. Now let's get into some spoilers. I want to talk about some of the characters in this show because I think all of the characters really add to the intrigue of the whole entire show. But I personally believe a lot of these side characters are kind of suspicious, so I want to talk about them. Let's talk about the most suspicious person on this show, to me at least, and that is Mallory. From the first episode, I absolutely thought Mallory was suspicious. Now, when they was coming up with their little list of things to do for the summer of 93, and she only wanted to do illegal things, I was like, okay, that's a little suspect. But I was like, oh, well, she could just be rebelling and, you know, wanting to do something more fun in their lives. So I pushed that aside. But as we get more episodes, I get more and more suspicious of Mallory. Mallory falls into like the typical teen trope in this show where there's a group of friends and one of the friends becomes popular and the other friend is disgruntled because they feel like they was left behind by the person who ended up being popular. That's Mallory in this show. That's, you know, typical teen show, so I don't have a grudge with that. But I feel like she's heavily upset about it for no reason. Like something else had to have happened for her to all of a sudden just be so bitter about it. Like Vincent seems to just be like, yeah, well, we just kind of went our separate ways, no big deal. But she seems to have like a heavy grudge against it, and that just makes me suspicious of her. Also, she's now all of a sudden best friends with Kate. Also suspicious. She's talking about Kate's her most favorite person in the world. She's always around Kate, and how Kate's not her best friend, at least in like 95. So it's like, how did we get here? Like, yeah, I know y'all kind of bonded over your therapy or whatever and your hatred of Jeanette Turner, but I don't know. She's just so suspect to me. Moving on to somebody who's also highly suspect to me, and that is Jamie. We meet Jamie as the sweet, loving boyfriend to Kate in 93. And then we meet him again in 94 when he's now dating Jeanette. And then Kate returns sometime in 94 and he punches Jeanette and then starts dating Kate. And then in 95, he's now stalking Jeanette, and I don't know if he has any relations to Kate at this time. And he has a gun in his car. Like, all of these things, I'm like, Jamie, what is going on? He's also really suspicious of Jeanette, which I can kind of understand, but I don't understand why he punched her. That don't make sense to me. And then why is he stalking her in 95? Is he on Jeanette's side in 95? Or is he on Kate's side still and just stalking Jeanette as like a protection to Kate? I don't know what's going on with him. Vincent is the next character I want to talk about because to me, he's the most reliable character of this show. He's also the most unproblematic one of this show. He just seems to genuinely care about everyone, which I love. He seems to be more of a loner in like 94 and 95 because Mallory is with Kate, and then Jeanette obviously was with the two other popular girls and then just ended up being by herself. But he still interacts with all of them, so that's nice to see that he cares. He had his little thing with Ben. I'm hoping they kind of explore that more because we don't know what's going on with them. Another good character who I think is reliable and unproblematic is Jeanette's brother, Derek. He seems to just be a good old brother, you know, defending Jeanette, trying to make sure she's good, standing up for his family. Like, he seems to be cool and involved with none of the drama. Now, the moms in this show, both of them are so suspicious to me. They seem like they might be involved in something because Jeanette's mom, I think her name's Cindy, at least in like 93, she really seemed to want Jeanette to be Miss Popular or at least be friends with Kate. And then the way she used to talk about Kate's mom and be like, oh yeah, she used to follow me around like a puppy. She was a little awkward in high school. I was Miss, you know, cool girl with the cheerleading captain and popular girl in the school and whatever. And then she's also not in the picture anymore in 95, so I'm curious what happened there. Kate's mom, I think her name is Joy or Joyce, one of those. She says that Jeanette's mom used to like stare at her and always looks like she wants to be her. And then she's also cheating on her husband. She's also very snobby and like exudes kind of like privilege and I am wealthy. So she also seems like she could be hiding something or she could be somehow involved in all of this drama. So I don't truly trust either one of those mothers. Let's talk about the two main characters, Jeanette and Kate. Let's start off with Jeanette. Jeanette is an odd child. In 93 and 94, she just seemed like, you know, a normal teen. 95 is when she starts getting a little unhinged. Granted, she went through a lot. She's being accused of seeing Kate and not saying nothing, like, sure. But even throughout the 3 summers, she was just a little bit odd. She's also an unreliable narrator. Like, she tells us that she throws away all of the weed and flushes it down the toilet. But then we see her in her room with one, you know, joint and pretended to smoke it. So why did she keep that one joint? Why was she lying? What is going on? She also has an obsession with Martin's house, which, why? Also, her first encounter with Kate, where she first sees Kate in the mall, weird. It seemed very lustful and like very like I want you kind of way. Now, I personally don't believe that Jeanette is lying. I don't think she saw Kate. From what I know so far, I don't believe she would see Kate locked in the basement and then just not do anything about it. Because like even in 93 when she exhibited such weird behavior, she was still very caring and still wanted to do the right thing. Even when they were like talking about doing illegal things on their list, she was like, as long as it's not immoral, I feel like she wouldn't just leave Kate there. I don't know. I definitely think she has some kind of involvement in it because we know she's been frequenting that house very often. But I don't think she like locked eyes with Kate and was like, sucks to see you down there. Peace. Like, I don't know about all of that. Moving on to the other unreliable narrator in this show, Kay. She, generally seems like a good, sweet, popular girl. Like, she's not like a mean, popular girl. She seems to be very caring and very nice. That is, before she gets abducted. But after she gets abducted and how she's so dead set on Jeanette being the one reason why she was down there and reason why she stayed down there for so long, that's suspicious to me. Like, she could just be upset that Jeanette stole her life, essentially. But I don't know how much you can blame that on Jeanette and how much you could just blame that on the people surrounding Jeanette. Like, Jeanette could have gotten contacts, straightened her hair, and got better style or whatever, and still had the same friends. But you kind of have to blame your old best friend and your old boyfriend for the fact that they kind of swooped in and acted as if Jeanette was you. Also, she says she doesn't know Jeanette that well, but they've interacted many of times. So even if you maybe don't know all the things about her life, you do know her. So I don't know how much validity there is to her statements. Also, I just have to say, I love 95 Grunge Kate. Though she's great in 93 as like the sweet popular girl, I love 95 Kate because she takes nothing from nobody. Like, she's just saying whatever she feels like saying, which I enjoy because I think it's just hilarious, honestly. As of when I'm filming this, there's only been 4 episodes released. So let's talk about some things that we don't know, and I'm going to give some of my opinions and my predictions on what could be happening. First mystery that I have is, what the heck was that gunshot in the summer of 94 on Jeanette's birthday when her and Jamie were like heading off to Jeanette's house? They're talking and a gunshot happens and Jamie tries to brush it off as nothing, but then Vincent comes out and he was like, did y'all hear that gunshot? And Jamie was like, oh, well, welcome to Texas. Like, it's whatever. But like, the way he was just kind of brushing it off was suspicious. Now, I originally thought maybe this was the shootout that killed Martin that led to Kate's rescue, but Kate was rescued in the daytime, so I don't think they would have shot him at night and then left Kate there until the morning. That doesn't make sense. That also leads to the question of why there was a shootout with Martin in the first place. Like, what happened and what tipped them off to then go to Martin's house to then have a shootout and then discover Kate? I posed this question when I was talking about Jamie, but why did he punch Jeanette? Because from the outfit that they were all wearing, it was the same moment that they discovered that Kate was alive and that they found her. So I'm like, what does he know? Like, I don't imagine that they would have found Kate. Kate would have called up Jamie and been like, Jeanette Turner saw me. And then Jeanette magically comes to his house and then he punches her. Something's not right about that whole interaction. Also in 94, but I think in a different episode, they're at the 4th of July fireworks and Jeanette and Jamie are talking and he says, you were the first one to know that Kate was missing. How did you know that? Of course, Jeanette doesn't answer that question, but that's my question as well. If he's saying that she was one of the first people to know that Kate was missing, how would she know that? Of course, there's the main question of the show, as in what the heck happened with Kate's abduction and how was Jeanette involved? Because in one episode, I believe when she was maybe talking on that talk show, she said that she was found and that Jeanette didn't do anything about it. But then in another episode, she said that she heard an intruder in the house, and then when she saw the intruder leaving, she saw it was Jeanette and they locked eyes with each other. But Jeanette, I guess, kept on walking and left her there. Now, her first statement saying that she was found sounds like someone came into the basement and then just didn't, help her escape. But then another statement where she's saying that she heard an intruder, but how would she know it was an intruder if she's in the basement? Like, if she just heard, like, footsteps upstairs, she would know that it's most likely just Martin. So how would she know it's specifically an intruder? I don't know. That whole story of her seeing Jeanette just doesn't seem solid, especially with the fact that she had Jeanette's necklace, because how would she have gotten the necklace if Jeanette, one, wasn't in the basement, and if she saw Jeanette when she left, that means she would have dropped her necklace either outside or somewhere outside of the house. But if she's locked in the basement, how did she get to any of those other spots? Do you know what I mean? None of it makes sense. Another thing this show has is a lot of mirror imagery, right? So the title sequence has a reflection kind of situation, and a lot of the scenes where they're in the basement, they focus heavily on the mirror. So the characters are never in the middle of the frame. They're always to the side so that your main focus is on the mirrors, and that's suspicious. And then also in the promo pictures of the show, it's Jeanette and Kate looking into a mirror, but they see the other person. I don't know if they're just using mirrors as to like Jeanette and Kate are like the mirrors of each other, but I know there's a theory that's like going around that maybe the mirrors in the basement are like double-sided, and maybe like Kate was behind one of the mirrors, and like, yeah, it would seem as if Jeanette saw Kate through the mirror, but since the mirror is double-sided, she would only just see herself instead of Kate. I don't know how likely that is, because it doesn't seem like the mirrors come off the wall, and why would Kate be inside on the opposite side of the mirror? In the latest episode, we also find out that Ashley, Kate's stepsister, is the person that Kate be talking to on the chat rooms. So in one of the episodes in the beginning of the series, Kate's talking to the Bernice chat room person, and they're saying like, I wonder if they know that I haven't told the whole truth. Which leads me to the question of, what is Kate hiding? Like I said, she is an unreliable narrator, so there's clearly something that she's not telling everybody else and, you know, us as the audience. So I wonder what that is. Maybe she was actually like in a relationship with Martin, or like had feelings for Martin, because in all her police interactions, she talks about how she never really knew Martin. But as we see, Martin was in all aspects of her life leading up to when she gets abducted. He was at the garden club party. He went, you know, not hunting, but the shooting with them. Like, they had a moment at the cabin or whatever where they had talked about some trauma and stars. So like, it's not like she didn't know this man. She had multiple conversations with this man, so she's also lying to the police, talking about she didn't really know him well. And then lastly, the biggest question that episode 4 gave us is, who the heck is Annabelle? At first in 95, when they go on their usual shooting trip, Kate tells a story to the adults about how this child named Annabelle, and she was left alone, but then this man came to her when she was vulnerable, and she wasn't alone anymore, and all of the adults, you know, trusted him. So then obviously she trusted him. So I was like, okay, Annabelle could have just been a story to what happened to Kate. But then we get to her listening to her therapy session, and she's talking about, you know, things got worse, and that's when I met Annabelle. And then I think the therapist was like, who the heck is Annabelle? And she was like, I don't remember. That's suspicious. That's creepy. Like, now, I personally don't believe that Annabelle is another person Martin abducted, because they would have found her when they found Kate, or at least if, you know, she died or whatever, they would have found her dead body. Unless, like we said with the mirrors, if the mirrors, you know, open up to another closet or whatever, if they open it up and she's like chilling behind the mirror, I guess that could be the case of Annabelle's hiding in the basement as well. I don't think that'd be too likely though, because I think the show's really focusing on Jeanette and Kate. To add a third character would be a bit much, and I don't know what the purpose of that would be. So I don't think there's like a secret girl hiding somewhere in the basement still. What is probably likely is Annabelle is just a role that Kate had to play for Martin, because, you know, most people who abduct women or, you know, people always want them to fill some kind of role that they have trauma based on. So like, if Annabelle was maybe like Martin's sister or Martin's mom or Martin's girlfriend, wife, whatever, that'd probably be the most likely in the show. But I find it interesting that Kate doesn't fully remember who Annabelle is, because if it was like an alternate persona that she had to play, I feel like when they rescued her, she would probably still be in that same role. I see some theories thrown around that Mark could have also been grooming Jeanette, but Jeanette was able to be, you know, out in the world and be able to kind of be Kate. So maybe the whole Annabelle thing is kind of like that. Like, he was grooming Jeanette as well, but made Jeanette kind of be under the persona of Annabelle, and they like met at one point, which is why Kate was so fixated on Jeanette being the person who could have helped her but didn't. I see how that could be like a scenario that happens in the show, and I think it would be a good twist. Or it could also be like he was grooming Jeanette to take over Kate's place because he was going to keep Kate in the basement, but he wanted someone to kind of fulfill Kate's shoes so that way maybe no one was going to go looking for her. But who knows? I don't know where this show is going. Overall though, I really enjoyed this show. I think it's very interesting and intriguing. But yeah guys, that's all I have to say about Cruel Summer so far. I will do another video when the season is over talking about all of the questions that I have and whether or not they got answered and whether or not I like the answers that they gave me, because this is still a freeform show and it can easily turn into how Pretty Little Lies turned into. So here's hoping that they actually end this show on a good note. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Let me know in the comments down below whether or not you watch Cruel Summer and what you think is going on in the show. Let me know some theories and some of your predictions. You can also let me know on my social media at Sabrina Talks 2 on Instagram and Twitter, and at Sabrina Talks 2U on TikTok. Share this video with your friends so we can all have a nice Cruel Summer discussion. Subscribe to my channel for more movie, music, and entertainment related content. As always, thank you so much for watching my video. Please remember to be safe, be smart, be kind, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye guys.